One of the things that you're going to find right away if you start doing this dedicated article drafting method that I've just showed you is that you need a way to track all of the different drafts that you are working on throughout your graph. As we've discussed, Roam does not come with any sort of built-in file navigation or hierarchy system, so it's really up to you to build your own. So in this lesson, I want to go over a few different ways that we can do that. I'm going to start by showing you two different methods that you can use to track the different articles you're drafting using this metadata here at the top. And then I'm going to show you a more manual method. So the first way that I want to show you would be to simply click on the blog article or navigate to the blog article page. And then, of course, down here in the linked references, if you've done all of your metadata consistently, you will see every draft article that you are working on throughout your graph. One way that you could filter these down would be to use the filter button that we've talked about here. Is also available in the linked references section. We talked about it in an earlier lesson up here at the page level, but you can also filter on your linked references. So for example, I could come down here and say, show me only blog posts that I'm drafting. Or you could say, in another example, maybe remove everything from here that's already published. I don't need to see that if it's already complete. So those are a couple examples of how you could use the linked references section. I don't love this method personally because as your graph grows, you're going to get more and more results down here, and it just becomes increasingly difficult to navigate. Also, the organization, the sorting of these linked references out of the box with Roam is not great. It doesn't give you really any flexibility. There are extensions and things you can use to sort these, but I generally try to avoid having to use any of those third-party extensions or anything like that. But again, this is one method that you could experiment with and see how it works for you. The second method, again, a little bit more advanced, but I want to show a query-based method. So for those of you who are watching this and are interested in possibly getting into some of the more advanced features like queries, I'll navigate here to this page that I've set up called the Blog Pipeline Query Demo. And what I've got set up here is just basically a blog pipeline with different stages that correspond to the metadata that we added in here. So the status published, final edits, drafting, and inbox. And the basic idea here is that I have created 4 simple queries on this page. You can see if I click into one of these are not very difficult to create. They're a little bit ugly to look at and can be a little bit intimidating for non-technical users, but I'll just show how you create these again. So you do the / symbol, type the word query. And in this example, I would use the and because we are looking for results that have both blog article and status published. So simply click on that. And then all you've got to do is come in here between your double brackets and add the criteria that you want to use or the parameters that you want to use for that query. So I'll type blog article and I will type status published. So if I click out of there now, you'll see the same query now created twice. So that's how you create those. Pretty simple to do. And again, in this method, I've created one of those queries for each one of these statuses. And you'll notice that if I were to come in here and update the metadata, let's say on this one from status drafting to status final edits, it will automatically move up. So this is a great way to do it. Perhaps if you're drafting article pages from all over the graph, maybe you're even using your daily notes page and you want an easy way to aggregate those from across your graph and automatically move them through the different stages based on the metadata. The final method that I want to show you is actually the method that I use in my own personal graph. And it's a bit more of a manual method, so it removes some of the extra complexity maybe associated with doing queries and dealing with filters and linked references and things like that. It does come at the cost of having to do a little bit more manual management, but you can see here what I've got set up is just a simple blog pipeline where I have manually created headings for each one of the different stages. And I just have a page reference here to all of the articles that I'm working on. And so if I were working on, let's say, this particular article and I went ahead and published it that morning, I would simply just drag this up into the published section. So very low fidelity here, very low technology factor. But again, something that I like to do just to try to keep things simple in my graph. A couple of other reasons why I like this method. It's very flexible. So as you're working with Roam, my process still adjusts on a regular basis. And so if I want to add new stages to my blog pipeline, I can just do that here. I don't have to worry about adjusting queries or anything like that. So just a very flexible and dynamic way to do it. But the way that I like, or the thing that I like the most about it is that it gives me just sort of a central jumping off point. So anytime I'm sitting down to do some writing, this is the first place that I come. I come to my blog pipeline and I can see everything that I've got going and jump into the article that I want. So this is typically the place I start. If I've got a new idea for an article, I will come in here and I'll drop it in as a page reference right here. And that's, again, it becomes like my central jumping off point. So that covers really the different methods that you can use to aggregate articles from across your graph. In the next lesson, I want to jump into talk a little bit about this inbox idea down here and how I use that.